Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn about LINQ in C Sharp. So LINQ stands for Language Integrated Query. It is a feature in C Sharp that helps us work with the data in a very simple way. Instead of writing long loops, we can use short and clean queries to get the same result. If you already know SQL queries or even have a little bit of SQL knowledge, then learning LINQ will be very easy for you because the style is quite similar. So let's see the LINQ syntax. A LINQ query usually starts with a from statement, then we use a range variable with the following in keyword and mention the table or collection name, and it ends with the select statement. As the example, let's see the example from, then EMP in employee select EMP. So in this query, we first use the from keyword, then the range variable, then the in keyword, then our collection or table name, and then we end it with select statement. So for this session, I have prepared 34 practice questions. Each question already has an SQL query written. Our task is to write the same query in LINQ and also in lambda expression. So using this approach, you will learn how SQL maps to LINQ, understand when to use LINQ query, and when lambda expression is more useful, and you will be able to compare SQL and CISA queries side by side. So we will start with the very simple queries and then slowly move to more advanced ones. So let's begin. So our first query is select, and the SQL query return is select star from employees. So this query means get all rows and all columns from the employee table. So let's try to write it the corresponding LINQ and lambda expressions. So in C Sharp, we store the result into an variable, and you can name anything this variable as it only stores the result. As in the above example, also we have discussed this query. Here we have written from EMP, that is range variable, then the in keyword, then our collection or table name, and then the select statement. And to select all the rows and all the columns, we simply write our range variable name. It will give us all the rows. Now let's see the lambda expression for the same. We can store it into a variable, and then so in lambda, the toList function returns all the rows and all the columns. So what we have done here in LINQ, we are simply selecting everything from the employees collection, and EMP is the range variable that represents each rows in employee table. And in lambda, toList just returns all the rows. You can see in the result table, we get all the rows and all the columns from the employee table. So now we can move to our next question, which is about select distinct. The SQL query is select distinct department ID from employee. This query means get all unique department IDs from the employee table. So we will quickly write the LINQ and lambda expression for this query. So in C Sharp, we store it into a variable. Okay, so here we are selecting the department ID column from the employee table. But we wanted only distinct columns. So we do have a distinct method in LINQ. So it will remove all the duplicate values. Now let's see the lambda expression. This is the syntax to select any column using lambda expression. And in lambda also, we can use this distinct method, and to get all into a collection, we use the toList. So what we have done here, we are only selecting the department ID column instead of all columns. Using distinct method, we remove all duplicate values, so each department ID only appears once. So now let's move to our next question. It is about where. So the SQL query returns is select star from employee where salary is greater than 70,000. So this query means select all employees where salary is greater than 70,000. That means we only want to see those employees who earn more than 70,000. Now in LINQ, we use a where clause to put this condition. Let's see. Again, we will store into a result variable. Now we will add a where clause. $70,000. Then we only select, we wanted to select all the columns. So we can simply write our range variable. It will select all the columns. Now let's see the lambda expression. In lambda, we will do the same thing using the where method. So let's see. That's it. So both of them will give us the same result. Only those employees with salary above 70,000. So you can see how LINQ works very similar to SQL, and it is easy to compare both. Now let's move to our next question. It is about order by. The query is select star from employee order by salary descending. So this means we wanted to fetch all employees and arrange them in descending order of salary, starting from high salary and down to the lowest. Now let's see the equivalent LINQ query. So in LINQ, we will write it like now. Here we have a keyword order by to arrange them in an order. Then the column we wanted to sort, and then the descending keyword. It is optional in ascending, but if we want to order by descending, then we have to write this descending keyword. That's it. Now let's see the lambda expression for the same. That's it. So in lambda, we do have a order by descending method which sort according to the column we have specified here. So both these queries give the same result, employees sorted by salary from top earners to the lowest earners, as you can see in the result table. Now we can move to our next question. let it is about AND operator, how we use AND operator in LINQ and Lambda. Let's see. The SQL query is select star from employee where salary is greater than 70,000 and department ID is equal to 1. So in SQL, we use AND keyword to use AND operator, but in LINQ, as we are writing queries in C sharp, so we will use the AND operator in C sharp. Now we will end this query with the select statement. Now let's see the lambda expression. That's it. So both of these give us the same result. The employees who satisfy both conditions, salary greater than 70,000 and the department ID equal to 1. So now let's move to our next question, which is about OR operator. So similar to the AND operator, we will use the OR operator in C sharp. So the SQL query is select star from employee where salary is greater than 70,000 or department ID equals to 3. This means we wanted to fetch all employees who either have a salary greater than 70,000 or belong to department ID equal to 3. Even if just one of these condition is true, so the employee will be included. So let's see the LINQ version. I can copy it from here. Instead of AND operator, we will use the OR operator, and that's it. And similarly, I can copy the lambda version. Again, we will use the OR operator. Now, both the queries will return us employees who satisfy both one of these conditions. So either the employee salary is greater than 70,000 or the department ID is equal to 3. So now let's move to our next question. It is about not operator. So here the SQL query is written in 3 different ways, but all mean the same thing. So select star from employee where not department is equal to 2, or select star from employee where department ID is not equal to 2. So these are the only ways to write down these queries. And all these queries simply mean select all employees where the department ID is not equal to 2. Now let's see the LINQ version. So we will use the not equal to operator in C sharp. Now let's see the lambda version. So both LINQ and Lambda give us all employees who do not belong to department 2. Now let's take a look into an insert example. The SQL query is insert into employee name, department ID, salary, hire date, value, and the values are Eve 268,000 and 2024 7 2024. This means we wanted to add a new employee record into a employee table. The name is Eve. She belongs to department 2 and her salary is 68,000 and her hiring date is 27 July 2024. Now, in C Sharp with Entity Framework, instead of LINQ, we directly create a new object and save it to database. So let's see how we do it in Entity Framework. So we use datetime function to convert a value into a datetime data type. So here we have created a new object data type employee and we have initialized it with the given values. Now we wanted to save it into our database. So to save it into our database, we will use the DB context and then who are familiar with .NET Core, they are aware about the DB context. And in Entity Framework, we do have a function add, which adds our object into our table and then save changes. So that's it. So what we have done here, we have created a new object. Then we uses an add method to insert it into the employees table. And finally, with the save changes method, we write it permanently to database. So remember, LINQ is used for querying data, but for insert, update, or delete, we use the entity framework method like add method, update method, or remove method. Now let's move to our next question, uh, which is about null values. And the SQL query is select star from employee where hiring date is null. So this means we wanted to select all employees whose hiring date is not filled, or in other words, employees with no hiring date record. So let's see the LINQ version. And the lambda expression is so in both the queries, by using where clause and where method, we are comparing the hire date column is equal to null or not. So both LINQ and Lambda will give us the employees who don't have a hire date yet. So now let's move to our next question. Again, it is about update. So this SQL query is update employee set salary is equal to 85,000 where employee ID is equal to 2. So this means we want to update the salary of the employee whose employee ID is equal to 2 and set it to 85,000. So in C Sharp using entity framework, we don't use LINQ directly for update. First, we find the employee, then we update the value and finally save it to database. So let's see how we do it. So as I said, we first find the employee. So to find the employee, we use the DB context, then the employee table, and we have a method first or default. Now we check is any record belongs to the above condition or not. So if any record exists, then we will make changes. We will set the salary to 85,000. Now that's it. So first we fetch the employee using LINQ, then update the salary, and save changes method will update the database. So as you can see, the before update the salary was 80,000 and after update it will become 85,000. Now we can move to our next question. It is about delete. So the SQL query is delete from employee where employee ID is equal to 4. This means we want to delete the employee record whose employee ID is equal to 4. So as I have mentioned earlier, C Sharp, we use uh, entity framework. We first find the employee, then remove it, and finally save the changes. So you can, like, it is very similar to the update. So I can copy it from here. Now I have to find the employee whose employee ID is equal to 4. Then if I have found the employee, then I wanted to delete that employee from the database. So how I will do it? Using the DB context, I will remove that record by using remove method, and remove method takes an argument which record we wanted to delete or which object. So here from the employee table, I wanted to remove this employee, and at last I will save the changes into the database. So, so what we have done to delete an employee in LINQ, we first fetch the employee, then we delete it using remove method, and using save changes, we permanently remove it from database. Now let's move to our next question, which is about select top. So the SQL query is select top star from employee order by salary descending. This means we wanted to get the top two highest paid employees. First, the data is sorted by the salary in descending order, and then only the first two records are selected. So now let's see the equivalent LINQ version. So as we know how we perform order by operation using order by keyword, and then the salary, and then our descending keyword, select, that's it. But we wanted to select only the top two employees. Then to do so, we have a take method, and we have to give the parameter how many records we wanted to select from the top. So we will give the 2 here, and then it will provide us the top 2 employees. Now let's see the lambda expression where third equal to employee, again the order by descending, then A dot salary and 32. That's it. So here order by descending method sorts employee by salary from highest to lowest, and then take to only picks the top 2 records. Now we can move to our next question. It is aggregate method. The aggregate functions are used to calculate values like minimum, maximum, total, and average. Let's see them one by one. So let's see the LINQ version. For the minimum, I can store in a minimum salary variable. As first, we wanted to calculate the minimum salary. So by using minimum function, we can calculate the minimum salary. Now, similarly, for the maximum salary, we have a max function. So it will give us the maximum salary, and to count the number of employees, I can store it into a total employees variable, and instead of selecting salary column, it means the same. Here I can write the count method. So count method will provide us the count of records present in this employee table. Now to get the average salary, where average salary equal to so we have an average method. So by using min, max, count, and average, we have calculated. So we have missed this from some. Let's see how we will sum the salaries in LINQ. Now the total salary we are giving to the employees, we can calculate it like by using sum method. So it is very simple, and in Lambda also. Let's see how we will write all these queries in Lambda. We will simply pass the salary column as an argument to min or max methods, and similar to that, we do not need to pass any argument to the count method as it will return the total number of rows. And again, to calculate the average, we have to pass the column, and to calculate the sum as well. So here are the corresponding lambda expressions for all these aggregate functions queries. So now let's move to our next question. It is related to like keyword. So the SQL query is select star from employee where name like percentage o percentage. This query means we want to select all employees whose name contains the letter O anywhere in it. The percentage symbol is a wildcard, so it can match any character before or after O. So let's see how we can write the LINQ version. Now we will check the name contains O in it or not. Then we will select all the columns. Now let's see the lambda expression. That's it. So here contains method works like the SQL like, just like. Uh, so it will check the condition and returns all employees whose name has the letter O in it. Now let's move to our next wildcard question. Uh, the query is select star from employee where name like C and then percentage. This means we wanted to get all employees whose name starts with the letter C. Here the percentage symbol means any character come after C. As previously, the O is embedded between the two percentage symbols. Now we only have one percentage symbol which is after the C, which means we wanted the employee whose name start with letter C. So now let's write the LINQ version. Now instead of contains, we will check start with. That's it. So it will provide all the employees whose name start with C. So in LINQ, it is very easy as we only have to apply methods correctly. That's all. So in LINQ, start with methods works the same way as like C percentage in SQL. Now let's move to our next question, which is select star from employee where department ID in 1 3. This means we want to get all employees who belongs to department 1 or department 3. So instead of writing multiple or conditions, we use in keyword in SQL. So let's see how we will do it in LINQ. Now we will create a new list, a new array, and then by using the contains method, we will check. So here we have created a new array, and then using the contains method, we check the department ID is in the array or not. So let's see the corresponding lambda expression. That's it. So here contains method in LINQ works like the in clause in SQL and check if the value exists in the given list and then provide us the same result. Now let's move to our next question, which is about between. The SQL query is select a star from employee where salary is between 70,000 and 75,000. This means we want to select all employees whose salary is between 70,000 and 75,000, including both values. So between keywords include both the values 70,000 and 75,000. So let's see the corresponding LINQ query. Now I hope after these much questions you have learned the LINQ syntax. Now let's see the lambda expression. That's it. So in LINQ, we use two conditions with AND operator to achieve the same result as the between keyword in SQL. So now let's move to our next question. It is about aliases. So select name as employee name and salary from employee as E. So this means we want to select only two columns from employee table. We are selecting name, but we are renaming it to employee name, and we are also selecting the salary column. And here E is just an alias for the employee table. So let's see how we will achieve this in LINQ. Now we will create a new object, an anonymous object. That's it. So now let's see the lambda expression. So here we are using projection in LINQ. We are not selecting the full employee object, only the fields we need And we can also rename fields just like SQL aliases. So now let's move to our next question, which is about inner join. Uh, the SQL query is select E dot employee ID, E dot name, D dot department name from employee E, and inner join department D on E department ID equals to D dot department ID. This query is used to combine data from two tables, employee and department. And inner join means we only get those records where a matching department ID exists in both tables. If an employee does not belong to any department, that record will not appear in the result. So here we are matching employee and department using department ID and selecting employee ID, the employee name, and the department name. Now let's write the LINQ query. We use the join keyword to join two tables. And then the condition by using on keyword. In LINQ, we use equals keyword instead of equal symbol. Then we select the columns we wanted to by creating an anonymous object, because we do not contain any object which have employee ID, name, and department ID, department name from the department column, department table. So that's it. Here, what we have done, E represents records from the employee collection and D represents records from the department collection. And on E department equals D dot department ID is the joining condition, and select defines what data we want in the output. Now let's see the lambda expression for the same. Uh, Here the lambda expression looks more complex, but it is actually very logical. So let me explain this step by step. So first we have joined the employee collection with the department collection. Then uh, this statement tells us that we are using department ID from the employee table as the key, and this statement tells us that we are using department ID from the department table as the key. And then the next part, this E comma D and a new anonymous object. This means When a match is found, the combined data from the both tables inside this anonymous object, and this defines the final output columns. So, in simple words, SQL uses inner join, LINQ query syntax uses join, and Lambda uses join method with key selectors, and all of three are will give us the same result. So now let's move to our next question, which is left join. And the SQL query is select e.employee ID e.name d.department name from employee E, left join department D on e.department ID equals to department ID. This query is used to combine the data from employee and department, but here the behavior is slightly different from inner join, because left join means all records from the employee table will be returned even if there is no match record in the department table. So in inner join, we only get those records which gets matched, but here we will get all the records from the employee table. If an employee does not belong to any department, the employee details will still appear, but the department name will be null. So now let's write the LINQ query. So I have written the LINQ query for this left join. So in LINQ, there is no direct left join keyword. So we use group join with default if empty method. So let's understand this query step by step. So we group matching department using into department group, and default if empty method ensures employees without departments are included. If no department is found, then D will become null. So now let's see the lambda expression. So here is the lambda expression for left join query. So let me explain this. So first, uh, we use the employee table, then we use the group join method, and it takes four arguments. Uh, this is the outer collection, this is the inner collection, then the outer collection key, and then inner collection key, which is department. Then uh, we use the new anonymous object, and this select many method flattens the group data into a single result list. So, in simple terms, left join keeps all employees. Matching department data is added if available, and if not, then the department values will remain null. So now let's move to our next question, which is about right join. So the select e dot employee ID, e dot name, d dot department name from employee E, right join department D on e dot employee ID, d dot department ID. So using the LINQ query. So here I have already mentioned that the right join is not directly supported in LINQ. To achieve the same result, you can perform a left join on the opposite tables and then switch the logic. So let's see how we will do it. So if we wanted to perform a right join, that means all records from the department table will be returned if there is no matching employee in the employee table. So, if a department has no employee, the department name will still appear in the list, but the employee fields like employee ID and the employee name will be null. So, let's see how we will achieve it in LINQ. We will first write the left join and then we will reverse the result or logic. Let's see how we will do it. As we have done the left join, the table name is employee. but we wanted to swap the tables. So here we will write the department table name and then this, and all the other logic will be same, but here the employee ID can be null. So we will perform all this. If we do not have a null value in our outer inner collection, then we will simply provide the employee ID, otherwise the null, and similarly for the name. That's it. So let's understand it. We start from the department collection because we wanted to perform a right join and we do not have any keyword for the right join. So we swap the tables and perform the left join. And again, with default if empty keyword, we ensure that the department records will always be included. If no employee exists, then our E range variable will become null. Now let's see the lambda version of this query. Again, I can copy it from the left join as we wanted to perform the left join, but we will swap the tables. So let's see. So here the department would be the outer collection this time. Then we will perform the group join and the inner collection is employee table. Simply we will swap the keys as well, as the outer collection key is the d dot department ID and the inner collection key is e dot department ID. Then we will create a new, then using the select many function, we again flattens the result and x.a. But here the employee ID and employee name can be null. So we will check if it is null, then we will provide a null value. Now in simple words, right join keeps all departments matching employee are added if available, and if not, employee value remains null, as we have done in left join. So remember, right join in LINQ is achieved by swapping tables and using logic left join. So now we will move to our next question. It is about full join. So the SQL query is select E dot employee ID, E dot name, T dot department name from employee E, full outer join department D on E dot department ID equals to D dot department ID. This query combines both uh, data from the both tables, employee and department table. So full outer join means it will return all records from both the tables. So it will include matching records where department ID is same and also non-matching records from both the tables. So if an employee has no department, then the department field will be null, and if the department has no employee, then the employee field will be null. So, but here is the warning: the full join is not directly supported in LINQ, so you can emulate it by combining left join and right join. So let's see how we can perform the left join and right join, and then how we can combine it. So let me first write it the query. So I have written it the full join query as what we have to do. First we have to perform the left join on these tables, then the right join, and then we will combine it by using union method. So let me explain once again. So again, we are selecting the first employee table, then we are joining it to department table using the on condition department ID equals to employee department ID into a department group, and using default if empty, we ensure that the our outer collection will always be available and present in our result. And then we are creating a new object with the columns we wanted to select employee ID, name, and department name. Here we check the null condition to department name as we have performed the left join in employee and department. And similarly, by swapping the tables, we get we have achieved our right join, and then we have combined the result by using union method. So in simple words, full join is equal to left join plus right join, and union method combines both results and all records from both tables are included. So now we can move to our next question, which is self join. So select employee ID as employee ID 1, name 1, employee ID from the second employee table join, as we are joining it from the employee table itself. So now the employee E2 dot name 2 from employee E1 inner join employee E2 on employee dot department ID equals to E2 department ID, and E dot employee ID is not equal to E dot employee ID. So here we are joining the table itself, means the employee table is used twice with different aliases, which is E1 and E2. And the purpose for this query is to find the employees who belongs to the same department, but we don't want to join with the same employee. So we have added this condition E dot employee ID is not equal to E dot employee ID. So from result, we are selecting employee ID from the first table and the employee name from the first table, and then the employee ID and name from the second table. So now let's quickly write the LINQ query. And the condition is dot department ID equals to it dot department ID, but we do not want the same employee to join itself. So we have added an where clause, and we are checking the employee ID should not be same. Now we select the columns. That's it. Here we are using the same collection twice and the where clause to avoid the matching between the same employee. Now let's see the lambda expression, how we will write it in a lambda. So as we have done it earlier in a inner join, So in the lambda expression, first we will select our employee table. Then by using the select many method, we flattens the result, and then we provide our first outer collection, and then here we don't need to provide the inner collection name. We can simply provide our aliases, and then we are providing a where method. Uh, Here we have specified that the it department ID must be same, but employee ID should not be equal, and then we are selecting the columns. So remember, self join is used when data is related within the same table, and in LINQ we simply use the same collection twice. So we can move to our next question, which is about union. And the SQL query is select name from employee union select department name as name from department. The union operator is used to combine the result of two select queries into a single result set. In this example, the first query selects the name from the employee table, and the second query selects department name as Ilya's name from the department table. And both query returns only one column, and that's important because union works only when the number of column is same and the data type are compatible. So, and also the union removes duplicate values automatically, so the final result will be a single list that contains all unique employee names and all unique department names. So let's write the LINQ query. Now our union method, and then simply I will write the query to select the name, or I can create an anonymous object here. So what we have done here, we have first select the name from the employee table, then we have selected the department name from the department table, and we have joined this by using union method. Now let's look at the lambda expression. So I have to select first. Now the union from the department. This does the same thing. The select method picks the required column, and the union method merges the collections and remove the duplicates. So remember, in SQL union is uh, very similar to the LINQ union, uh, and it removes the duplicate values by default. So now we can move to our next question, which is group by. To select department ID and the count star as number of employees from employee group by department ID. So here we are grouping the employees by department ID, and then count how many employees are in each department. So our output will be the unique department IDs, and then the number of employees working in each department. So let's write the LINQ query syntax. So here group E by E dot department ID creates the group and G dot key represents the department ID. So it will do the same thing. It will first group by the query by unique department IDs, and then we are selecting the required columns, and the count method will count the number of rows and the number of employees working in this department. Now let's see the Lambda version. So I have written the corresponding Lambda expression. So in LINQ, the group by in Lambda, sorry, the group by method works just like SQL group by, and the count method gives us the total records in each group. So this is the syntax in Lambda. So now we can move to our next question. It is about having. So the SQL query is select department ID and the count star as number of employees from employee group by department ID having count greater than 1. So it is the extension of the previous query. Here we are grouping by grouping department ID and selecting the department ID column and the number of employees working in that department. But we have added one more condition that the count should be greater than 1. So this query first groups employee by department ID, and then the having clause filters the group. So here we will get only those departments where the number of employees is greater than 1. So remember, we use where to filter the rows and we use having to filter the groups. So now let's see the LINQ syntax for the same. So it is very simple, and so here we use the where clause and after the group by, and it will work similar to the having clause in SQL. So now let's see the lambda expression. I can copy it from above, and so here this is the corresponding lambda expression for this LINQ query. We have first used the group by method and then provided the column on which we wanted to perform the group by operation. Then we use the where method to add this condition that count should be greater than 1, and then we are selecting the columns we wanted. So here is the result. Now we can move to our next question, which is exist. The SQL query is select star from employee where exist select one from department where department ID is equal to employee.department ID. So this query checks whether a matching department exists for each employee. If a department with the same department ID is found, that employee is selected. So simply put, exist returns true or false. Now let's write the LINQ version for this query. So we will add a result variable, then again our range variable. We will add a where clause. Dot. We will use the any method to check is the department ID is equal to employee department ID. Now we will select all the columns. So here any method works exactly like exist in SQL. It checks if at least one matching record exists, so it will return true. So now we will see the lambda expression for the same. So that's it. In the lambda expression, we will again use the any method, but inside the where method, and it will provide us the same result as the above LINQ query. So whenever you see exist in SQL, so think about the any method in LINQ. All right, we can move to our next question, which is about any. As we have already seen how to use any method in LINQ, so now we will see how we will replace the SQL any with in LINQ and Lambda. So SQL start from employee where salary is greater than any. Select salary from employee where employee ID is equal to 1. So this query means select employees whose salary is greater than at least one salary from employees in department 1. So remember, any means at least one value matches the condition. So now we will write the LINQ version. Now we will add the where condition inside the where clause. Let's see how we will do it. Here, any method checks if there exists at least one employee in department 1 whose salary is less than the current employee's salary. So now we will see the lambda expression for the same. So here we will first mention our collection name, then added a where method inside which we have specified the employees should be belongs to department ID, and then we have added our any method which checks if the current employee salary is greater than the any employee's salary belongs to department 1. Now we can move to our next question, which is about all. The SQL query is select star from employee where salary is greater than all, select salary from employee where employee ID is equal to 1. This means select employees whose salary is greater than every salary of employees in department 1. So previously we wanted to those employees uh, who have at least one employee salary greater than uh, which belongs to department 1, but in all we want uh, only those records having salaries greater than employees to all the employees belongs to department 1. So now let's write the LINQ version for this query. So it is very similar to our previous written query. Previously, we were checking if there exists any employee uh, mm, having salary greater than the current employee. But now we are checking like employee salary is greater than all the salaries from the employees belongs to department 1. So now let's move to the lambda expression. So similarly, we have added a where method inside a where method, and we have specified that the employee should belongs to department 1 and all the salaries should be greater than uh, the employees belongs to the department 1. Now we will move to our next question, which is select star into new employee table from employee. This query means we are creating a new table called new employee table and copies all records from the employee table into it. So select as the warning returns, select into isn't directly supported in LINQ, but you can achieve similar results by creating a new entity and saving data manually. So we can't directly insert or create a table using LINQ as it is used to querying the data, as I have mentioned earlier. So now in LINQ, uh, we can't create a database table. So but we can achieve the similar result by selecting data into a new object or list. So now let's see how we can do it. Now I have copied all the data into this list by creating an anonymous object. Now by using my DB context, I can save it, but I can't create a table as the LINQ is used to query and transform data, not manage SQL schema. So we can see the lambda expression. So in lambda expression, the syntax will be like this only, and everything will remain same as we use select method instead of select keyword. Now let's move to our next question. It is insert into select. So the SQL query is like insert into new employee table, employee ID, name, department ID, salary, hire date, select employee ID, name, department ID, salary, hire date from employee. So it means we are copying data from employee table and insert it into an existing table called new employee table. So remember, select into creates a new table and is insert into select only copies data from an existing table from an existing table to an existing table. So now, as I have mentioned earlier, in LINQ, we don't insert records directly into database tables like SQL. Instead, we usually select data and add it to a collection, or we insert it using entity framework by using our DB context. So let's see how the selection part in LINQ look like. So now I can save it by using my DB context. This is my table name, which already exists in my database. Now I will use the add range method. Now with the save changes method, I will save all my changes. So the add range method inserts uh, all the records uh, I have stored in my new employees variable, and using the save changes, I will permanently save these changes to the database. Now we can move to our next question. So the next question is about case. Select name case when salary is greater than 75,000, then high; when salary is between 60,000 and 75,000, then medium, else low. And add we end this case as salary level. We are selecting this column by giving an alias salary level and then from employee. Now let's see the LINQ query. Like in LINQ, we do not have a case keyword. So instead of the case keyword, we will use the conditional logic like if else or the ternary operator. So first I will select the name and then we wanted to rename. So now we will add our condition using ternary operator. And if the salary is greater than and equals to 60,000 and salary is less than and equals to 75,000, then we wanted the medium, else we wanted low. So we have added two ternary operators. First, if the salary is greater than 75,000, then high. Else, if the salary is greater than and equal to 60,000 and salary is less than equal to 75,000, then medium, else low. So that's it. Now we can close this object. So to perform case, we will use the ternary operator, and for renaming, we create an anonymous object. Now let's see the lambda expression for the same. So it will be quite similar. That's all. So whenever you see a case in SQL, think of conditional expression in LINQ. So we can move to our next question, which is null handling using collect. So the query is select name salary, comma 0 as salary from employee. This means if the salary is null, then return 0 instead, and if salary has a value, then return the same value. So coalesce helps us avoid null values in the result. So let's see how we can achieve the same thing in LINQ. In LINQ, we handle the null values using null coalescing operator. And what is that operator? It is double question mark. Now we wanted to perform a null coalescing operator on salary, as we wanted to prevent the null values in salary column. That's it. So this double question mark is used to prevent null values in the column, and it named as null coalescing operator. So now let's see the lambda expression for the same. Again, it is exactly similar. except we will use the select method. That's it. So remember, SQL uses coalesce and LINQ uses the null coalescing operator, which is double question mark. Now let's move to our next question, which is pagination. Question number 34, pagination. SQL get page second with 10 records per page. Select star from employee order by employee ID, offset 10 rows, fetch next 10 rows only. So this query is used to fetch data page by page. Here we are getting page 2 with 10 per records. So order by is mandatory for pagination, and offset means skip the first 10 records, and fetch next means take the next 10 records. Now let's write the link query syntax. So we want to order by the employee ID, and then select. So here we are selecting all the employee records into an ordered employees collection. Then we skip the first 10 records, and then we take the next 10 records. So now we can see the lambda expression. To order by in ascending, we use order by, and then we can use the skip method and the take method. So offset in SQL is equal to the skip method in LINQ, and fetch next in the SQL is equal to the take method in LINQ. This is very common in paging. So we can move to our next question and the last question for this session, which, which is about subquerying. The SQL query is like select star from employee where salary is greater than select average salary from employee. So this query means selecting employees whose salary is greater than the average salary of all employees. So first we have to calculate the average salary, and in the outer query we are comparing the salary with that value. So now let's see the LINQ syntax. So in LINQ we can store the average salary first, as we have already see how we can calculate the average salary in LINQ. By using average method. So now we have an average salary in this average salary variable, and we can simply get all the employees having salary greater than this average salary. So it is so simple in LINQ. That's it. Now we can see the lambda expression for the same. So that's it. So the result is average salary, like uh, we can see here it is written assuming the average salary is 72,000, and this will return the employees who are earning more than 72,000. So these are two employees who are earning more than 72,000. So, and with this we have completed all the practice questions. So I hope using this approach you can clearly compare SQL LINQ query syntax and lambda expressions and understand where to each one. If you know SQL, then learning LINQ will be very easy practice. So if this video helped you in any way, please like it, share it with others, and subscribe for more such tutorials. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.